Hi guys, welcome to this tutorial on Android login and registration system. Now before we begin this tutorial, you're going to need a few programs and a few other things as well just to get started. So the first thing that you're going to need is some sort of a hosting site, or if you're using a local server, then you're probably going to need Examp or WAM server. But if you want to use an online hosting site, then you can use this one in particular, GearHost, which I'm using. You can create a free website and a free database, and it also allows you to host .NET, PHP, Node.js, and so on. In this particular case, we want to be hosting PHP files because we're going to create a PHP API, to make the user authenticate with the server, and they can be able to log in and register with the app. So if you're using WAMP server or any other local any other application that provides a local server, then go right ahead and create, download the application and create the database if you want. If you're going to be using this one in particular, then you can just follow my steps. Okay. Now, if you're new, then you can just register. If you already have an account, you can log in like myself. And once you log in, you're gonna need to select the cloud site tab, and then add a cloud site. Okay. Now there's three types here. You can just choose the free version there. Now you have to give your site a name. Okay. In my case, I'm just gonna say just call it sample Android. Okay. I'm just gonna call it sample Android API. Actually, no, sample Android login. Okay, and once you have that one selected, just make sure this one is still selected, and then click on create empty cloud site. Okay, now it might take a couple of seconds, maybe minutes, to actually get the environment set up. Now this particular site is where we're going to host all of our PHP APIs in order for the application to make API calls for logins and registers. Okay. Now while that is building up there, another thing we're going to need is a database. So if you click on, okay, that's finished. If you click on the database, then you can create a new database. Okay, and then I'm going to call this login API DB. Okay, so this one is called login API DB. Okay, and also we're going to select the free version, which only gives you 5 megabytes. If you guys like building an app that it's going to have more users and so on, you can go ahead and subscribe to all of these guys if you want. Okay, just make sure you choose the free MySQL, not the free SQL one. Okay, after you give it a name, then you can click on create database. Okay, and then a database will be created, and then it should be ready. So you should have the cloud site, which is the sample Android login, and then the database, which is the login API DB. Okay, now once you have that, then there are two other applications that I need you to have. The first thing is you need to have some sort of a FTP application to upload your files into this cloud site. Okay, so if you go to the cloud site and if you click on the one that you created, okay, now if you come down here, you're gonna have I think it's under the config, if I remember correctly. Well, under the config, you can configure what you can see what version of each of the file type is it supports. So for PHP, it supports version 5.5, so that's okay. And so we don't have to worry about that. Alright, so if you look at the publish tab, just right there, you can go and you can see the details for logging in using either FTP or any other application. It even tells you the recommended applications, so you can click on one of those and then download it. I recommend using Filezilla, so that's the application that I'm using, okay, because it's much easier, much straightforward. Okay, so once you download this application, you can just follow these steps. Okay, so what you want to do is open up Filezilla, and you need to click on this guy here. Okay, open site manager, then go right ahead and say a new site. Okay, just give it whatever name. I call it sample Android login. Okay, and then what you need is you're going to need the host. Now the host is ftp.gear.host. Okay, you don't have to worry about the port. Okay, now the username is right here, so I'll suggest that you just copy the username. Okay, and if you change the logon type to normal, you can change the username there, and then there's the password. You can just copy the password. So okay, and just put the password there, and then you just have to click on connect, and then it should connect to the site. Okay, once you're connected to the site, then this is what you're gonna have. This your files. You normally go to the site folder, and then the www root. Okay, and then at the start you see there's like one file there already. Okay, so you can just go right ahead and delete that file. So this is where we're going to add most of our file here. So what I want you to do is I want you to right click here and just say create a directory, and we're going to create a directory called include, and this directory is going to have some of our PHP files inside. Okay, so once you create that file, then you're perfectly set up for that one. Okay, now regarding the database, now if you go into your database and you click into that database you created, if you go down and you see the database detail here, that's the database name, that's the username of the database, obviously that's the password for the database, and then this is the server for the database or the host. Okay, so another application that you're going to need in order to connect to the database, if you can download Workbench, that would be great. Well, the reason for Workbench is that it allows us to connect to this particular database as well, and then we can create our tables within that database, because we won't be creating any tables within the actual application. We're just going to be doing it straight into the separate application. Okay, so once you have Workbench opened up, you can click on this plus sign here to add a new connection. Okay, so you just give it a name, login db, okay, login API db, sorry. And then if you go back to your site, remember this is the host. Okay, the host is called MySQL Gear host 1. Just remember, copy the right one. Okay, and you put it there in the host name. Leave the port as it is. Okay, and then the username is this guy here. So copy the username, put them there. Okay, and then the password, obviously, if you view the password, you get your password there. I strongly suggest that you don't copy my password, because there might be a stage where it's just going to kick you out or prevent you from using it if I ever delete the database. So make sure you copy your own details, and then just put that password there and click OK, and do a test connection to see if the details are correct. If the details are correct, you see all of these, say the parameters are correct, SS is not enabled, blah blah blah. And once you have that done, then you just click OK, And then what I want you to do is click on this one that you created, and then it's going to load the interface for you, so you can pretty much manipulate the database, create the tables, do whatever else you want. So in this particular one, we're just going to be creating the user table. Okay. If you feel like adding more tables, feel free to do that later on. But for the meantime, we're just creating a table, just one table. Okay. So before we start, we want to say use login API DB. Okay. Once you execute that, you see you get your confirmation there. Then the next thing is we're going to create a table. So we're going to say create table if not exist. Okay. And the table is called users. All right. Then inside users, we're going to have a UID, and that's an int. Okay, so that's an int limit 11, and it's a primary key, and it's auto increment. Okay. The next one is a unique ID, unique underscore ID. Okay. And this one is a varchar, or varchar, whatever you want to call it. And this takes 23 characters, and it's not null, and it's unique. Okay. And the next one is the name of the user. Okay, which is a varchar as well. And this takes in 50 parameters, 50 characters, sorry, and it's not null. Okay. The next one then is the email. Okay, varchar, and this one is 100. It's not null either. Okay, and it's unique as well, because we want the user to be able to log in with their email address. We don't want the email address to be all identical for different users. And then next one is encrypted. Okay, encrypted underscore password. Okay, we're gonna make the password so that it is encrypted, so that people don't just know what your password is. Okay, so encrypted underscore password, and we say it's varchar, and this one is 80, not null. The next one is the salt. Now the salt is the variable that will help us decrypt and encrypt our password. Okay, so normally when you encrypt your password, you're going to generate a salt, and if you want to decrypt it, then you're going to use that salt to decrypt the password. Okay, so not null as well. And the second last one is created underscore at. Okay, and this one is a datetime, and the next one is updated at, and this is a datetime as well, and this one is null. Okay, so just make sure you have all of these details perfectly aligned. Stop the video if you have to, just to make sure you have everything in the right order. Okay, so you have your unique ID, so you have your UID, then you have your unique ID, the name, the email, the encrypted password, the salt, and created at and updated at. Okay, then once you have all of that done, then just select the codes and then just execute. Okay, and then that should generate the table for us. Okay, so if we refresh that, we see we have our user table and all the detail about it. So unique UID, unique ID, name, email, encrypted password, salt, created at, and so on. Okay, Now once you have that done, then you're done with the database part. Okay, now it's the time to actually create our APIs. Okay. Okay, to create our APIs, you're going to need some sort of application that will allow you to create PHP files. Okay, I have, in my case, I have if I remember where the application went, I have Notepad++, I think, but I hope. There we go. So I have Notepad++, and I think I have a few things done up here already. So let's just go delete those guys out. Okay, so with Notepad++, we're going to then create our PHP files. Okay, now for each PHP file, just you can save them on your desktop so that you have easy access to them. Okay, because we want to upload these PHP files into our website using the Filezilla FTP application. Now the first file that we want to create is a config file. Okay, so go right ahead and just start. If you're using a different software, then just create a new PHP file and start typing these. Okay, so let's see this. Make sure you save it as config. Desktop. Save it as config.php, and make sure the C is capital C. Okay. Remember, if you have these names wrong, you might run up some errors with the rest of the APIs. So all of these files have to be properly named and properly formatted. Otherwise, it's not going to work that well when you run the application, and you won't be able to tell what's going on unless you actually find out, like, you mistyped something or you misspelled something. So config.php and save that. And then inside this, you just start defining some variables. Okay, so say define bracket semicolon. Then inside the bracket, you're going to say the first one will be db underscore host. Okay, make sure it's all uppercase. Okay, and then the host will be whatever the host name is. Okay, and then say define another one, and this one will be db underscore user, comma, and whatever the user is. Define another one. This one will be db underscore database. Okay, and then that will be the name of the database and so on. So comma, whatever the database is. And the next one will be define. This one will be db underscore password. Okay, and then that's comma, whatever the password is. Now this is going to store all the details regarding connecting to the database. Okay, so our API is going to use the config file in order to find out what the database is, what the host of the database is, what the user of the database, and the password. Okay, so if you remember, if you go back to wherever you have your database, okay, mine is over here, and I have it open again. So remember, this is the name of the database, this is the user of the database, and that's the password, and then this is the host. Okay, so copy the host and just put it between the quotes. Okay, just like that. Copy the username. Remember, the username and the database name, it's exactly the same, so just copy those two guys together. Okay, and then copy the password. Okay, that there, and then that's that file completed. Okay, so once you're finished with that file, then we can move on to the next file. Okay, so go right ahead and create another PHP file, and this one is going to be called the DB Connect file. Okay, so this is going to be a PHP class file. So just create a file and then call it DB Connect, just like that. Okay, say DB Connect.php. I'm just going to save mine. I'm going to say DB Connect.php, all type, and save it. Okay, and then what you need to do is you need to say, okay, PHP, just like that, and here we say like that, and then right in between that we say class DB Connect. Okay, remember this is going to be a class type now. Okay, and then the first thing we need is a function construct. Okay, so it's function underscore construct, select that. Okay, if it's not highlighted or anything like that, then just make sure you have 2 underscore here and so on. Okay, you have brackets, and then the next one is the function underscore destruct. Okay, just like that. All right, and then the next one we need to create a function for connect. So it's going to be public function connect. Okay, just like that. And then inside the connect, then we can start connecting to the database. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to say required underscore once. Okay, and then it's going to require the config file. So you can say config.php, just like that, then you say semicolon. The next one is creating a connection. So you say $con is equal to MySQL underscore connect. Okay, brackets, and then after the bracket say or die, and then inside the die parenthesis you say MySQL underscore error brackets, like that. Okay, semicolon. So back in the connect MySQL connect method there, you're going to say, okay, db underscore host, okay, db underscore user, and then db underscore password, just like that. Okay, so that's how you want to set up your connection. All right, and then after that you're going to say MySQL underscore select db. Okay, and then you're going to say db underscore database, and then say or die MySQL underscore error, semicolon. Okay, and then after that you're going to say return $con. Okay, right, so just make sure you have all of these. Okay, and then once you have that, then we're going to create a close function here. So you say public function close. This one will close the connection. Okay, and then you can say MySQL underscore close brackets semicolon. Okay, and then that's that part done. Okay, Alright, so if you have that done, then we're going to go right ahead and create the next class, okay, the next PHP class. But we're going to be doing that on the next video. Okay, so just make sure you have all of these ready up for the next videos. Alright, so see you then.